Generally, we know what companies are looking for when they're hiring individual contributors. They're looking for skill and talent. And we also know what companies are looking for when they hire managers. They're looking for organization. But what do companies look for when they hire executives? We're going to talk about that today. My name is Tom, and I'm the founder of Vertical Motion, where we help mid-career professionals become executives. You can learn more about that down in the description. But for now, let's talk about what companies are looking for when they hire executives. What are the traits that you need to display and have in order to get a company really excited and interested in bringing you into their organization as an executive? So when companies hire executives, they're looking for a couple key traits in these executives. What are those key traits? Well, the first thing that organizations look for when they hire executives is visionary leadership. They want to know that you can come into their organization and make the change that's necessary in order to grow the organization from where it is today to where it needs to be ready for whatever is coming in the future. They want to know that you can create a clear and compelling message and a vision for what the organization should be someday, and that you can then go and motivate and inspire the team, the board, the customers, the vendors, everybody involved in a way that gets everybody excited about your vision for the future of the organization. The second thing that organizations are looking for when they hire executives is strategy. They want to know that you can build and create a strategy that helps move the organization in the direction of the vision that you've set for where the organization should go. And so the strategy is the ability to allocate the right resources and get everybody in alignment and set the right priorities so that everybody's in agreement on what it is that we're actually trying to do. It's one thing to have a vision and say, we're going to become the thing of the thing, right? In 2025, we'll be this company or this great organization. But if you don't actually allocate the resources, if you don't actually get alignment between all of the components of the organization, all moving in the same direction and agreeing that this is the thing that's most important, and setting the priorities so that everybody knows this is now what's important, not that which used to be important. If you can't build a strategy that people then can build implementation plans around, then it doesn't matter how visionary you are. It's just an idea. So you need to have the vision and the strategy. You need to be able to motivate and inspire, but you must also be able to lead and manage all of the organization's resources in the right direction. Next, and I would say this is one of the most important traits of any leader, is decisiveness. You need to make decisions quickly and without enough information. Get comfortable with making decisions that don't feel good because you just don't know if you made the right decision. I make decisions very quickly. Sometimes they're the wrong decision. That's okay. It's a decision, and move on. You have to be decisive. If you get stuck where you are indecisive and you're not making decisions, people start to question your leadership skill. They question whether you know what you're even doing. Even if you make a decision that's wrong, you can always go back the other way. If you're indecisive, you may lose the opportunity to move one way or the other. Every CEO I've ever spoken to has said the same thing. Being decisive has helped them way more than being indecisive. So when you are forced to make a decision and you don't have enough information, guess. That's what we do sometimes in the executive suite. We guess. So you have to get comfortable with making decisions and being decisive and being clear about, we're going to do this, we're not going to do that. I know you want to do this, we can't. I know this is as good as that, we're going to do this. So you have to be decisive as an executive. Next, organizations are looking for integrity and ethical leadership. They want to know that your words match your actions. It is so easy to lose the trust of your team, of your customers, of your investors, of the entire organization if your actions belie your words. So you have to have a moral and ethical code that you live and swear by, and you will be challenged. There will be moments as an executive where it will be very tempting to bend your morals, to take this great big lucrative contract that's attached to something that just doesn't feel right. You have to decide whether you're comfortable with that information coming to light with everybody else. Are you okay taking the great big deal that ultimately came to you through appropriate channels? Think about all the situations that you've seen in your work environment that were questionable in terms of ethics. It's easy for us to say, well, I would never bend my ethics in order order to accomplish something great. But put yourself in that chair as the executive. You've had quarter after quarter of bad news, and all of a sudden here comes this great big opportunity, but it's coming to you through an unethical channel. What do you do? And so sometimes that question is really hard to ask and answer. I have found, quite honestly, over my 13 years as an executive now, that always being ethical and having integrity and having a moral code is way far easier than trying to bend the rules and explain them back to someone later or explain it back to yourself. Hard to look at yourself in the mirror when you don't feel good about what you're doing every day. So keep in mind that the only times I've ever gotten into trouble in my career is when I was involved in something that didn't feel ethical and I didn't raise my hand. And so I would just take that as a warning to just know that as an executive, you never, ever, ever want to break your own moral code and have somebody see that, because now they've lost trust in you. So just don't break your moral code. Make sure that you do live up to the word that you carry. And then finally, when organizations are looking to hire executives, they're also looking for emotional intelligence. They want to make sure that you know how to manage and control your emotions, and you can understand and relate to and calm down the emotions of your team as well. This is really important because there's two sides to this coin. Emotional intelligence is not just about understanding and having empathy for someone else's situation. It's also understanding how you show up, how your emotions show up to others. In the very beginning of my time as CEO in that first startup that I mentioned in the past, I was kind of mercurial. And what would happen is if we had a great big win, then I was on top of the world. And if we had a loss, then I looked like a thundercloud. And people would just see that I had this up and down energy. And I was aware of it, but I didn't realize how much of an impact that had on people. On the days where I was a thundercloud, all of the software developers were stressed and anxious. And on the days where everything was great, that's when people came to the office and asked for things. Just understand that you also have to be in control of your own emotional state. Understand how your emotions impact those of the others around you. People are looking to you for steadiness, so make sure that you're able to provide that. But in addition to that, also understand the emotions of your team and understand how to manage the emotions of your team. Being able to talk through an emotional situation, a charged situation, is really important. If you want to clearly communicate what it is that you're trying to get someone to understand, sometimes people can't hear past their emotional state. So you have to find ways to diffuse emotions and make sure that you are communicating what's important to those people in that moment in a way that they can actually hear and understand what it is you're trying to tell them. So emotional intelligence is certainly critical to what people are looking for when they're trying to figure out what makes a great executive in an organization. So for all of that, I'll sum this up as there are 3 traits that you really need to embody in order to do all of these things. If you are an authentic person, if you are an empathetic person, and if you are audacious, those 3 traits I have found really do belie great leaders. Authenticity, empathy, audacity. Those 3 traits kind of encompass all of the things that I talk about. Audacity means that you have a great big vision and you have a strategy for how to do that. Empathy is your emotional intelligence. Authenticity is about your ethics and how you connect with people at a very real level. So if you have authenticity, empathy, and audacity, and you're coachable, you're willing to learn, then you have the building blocks to become a great executive. And that's actually what we screen for in the Executive Career Accelerator. We look for those 3 traits, and we only offer opportunities to join the program to people who embody those and have the right qualifications in their career as well. If you want to learn more about that, you can. There's a link in the description to explain that program. That's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. Again, my name is Tom, founder of Vertical Motion. You can find me on Instagram at TomCoxVM, or you can connect with me down below in the comments as well. That's what I have for you today. I will see you in the next one.